right, before we start, and we are recording, before we start on this scenario, let's go over let's go over our demand determinants. If you can't do this from memory right now, you are in some trouble. You need to spend some time studying it if you can't do it from memory. Sam, give me another one.
Change in consumer price expectations.
Change in consumer what?
Price expectations.
Yep.
Or income.
What'd you add as the or?
Income.
Okay. Another one?
Change in consumer taste or preferences.
Tastes and preferences. I guess it doesn't matter. Oops. We'll go both. Okay.
Change in price of related goods. Substance and income.
Change in weather.
Change in weather isn't a standalone one, it's part of taste and preferences. I prefer to be wearing a winter coat when it's blizzarding. One more?
Change in number of buyers in the market.
Any others?
The first one and last one the same.
First one and the last one are the same.
Should we have the one changing consumer income, a normal good and inferior good?
So,
In the second one,
I have a question then. What's the difference between this one and this one?
first one is like if the consumer's income go up, they usually buy more fancy stuff. And the second one is the price of the.
Nope.
No.
The big difference is that this one is about consumer expectations, what they're thinking is going to happen in the future and how that alters their behavior now, versus the first one, which is about changes that are already in place. I think I'm going to lose my job makes me behave differently than I did lose my job. Or I think I'm going to get a big bonus makes me behave differently than I got a big bonus. Okay? So it's that expectations word that is critical in the difference between those two. Otherwise, they are very similar. Okay? Let's talk about the difference between normal and inferior goods. Jim?
Normal, you buy more normal as you get more money.
Your demand for normal goods increases as your income decreases.
And your demand for inferior goods is when your income decreases.
Yes. So the relationship between demand and income is directly related for normal and inferior goods. Okay. Substitutes and complements. Explain those.
Like two items that you buy together. For instance, like car insurance and a car. If the price of a car dramatically goes up, then like the you know what I mean, like the price of your related.
The demand for the insurance goes down.
Oh wait.
Goes down. So if they are complements, your demand for them is inversely related. If your demand for them is inversely related. The relationship between price and demand is inverse if they are complements. So if I have been in the habit of buying 2 packages of hot dogs and the requisite accompanying buns every week, and the price of hot dogs doubles, and I only buy 1 package of hot dogs, am I going to continue buying the same number of buns? No. That tells you that they are complements. That as the price of one goes up, my demand for the other one goes down. Now, as my demand for hot dogs goes down, my demand for frozen pizza goes up. And that tells you that those goods are substitutes. That I will substitute one for the other. Okay? They'll often do that in examples with pork and chicken, both of them being white. Okay? All right? These adequately refreshed in your noggins? Let's go and apply them then. We're going to draw a demand curve for music downloads. Get in the Wayback Machine, and let's put ourselves in the time where an iPod really, really mattered. Okay, you don't have your smartphones, so if you want music downloads, you got to carry the iPod. This is back when you had a flip phone and you had to text, hitting number 2 3 times, say C. Okay, so demand for music downloads, that's what you're going to be graphing, is music downloads. And you're going to consider your demand for music downloads when the price of iPods falls, when the price of music downloads falls, and when the price of CDs falls. All right, the price of iPods falls. Somebody come graph it. Come, take the magic wand. Be brave. It's not like you're having to pull Excalibur out of the stone. Way to go, Grace.
The original one too.
Well, if you think there's a change, then yes, we'll need to see 2 curves.
So as the price of iPods falls, the music downloads goes up.
The
Or
music
increases.
Okay, as the price of iPods falls, the music downloads increases. What about music downloads increases?
The quantity demand.
Quantity demanded? She drew a whole new demand curve. Your graph is correct. So, the formula. As the price of iPods decreases, demand for music downloads increases. Why? economic reason why, Sheehan.
Change in price of related goods, complements.
Okay. So, this is what Grace said. The correct way to write it is this. The first thing Grace had to do before she graphed anything is decide why something changed, right? So that's also the first thing you do when you are going to write it. So you start with, as a result of, and you're going to tell me the change. A change in the price of related goods. And what kind of related good is it? Complement. Demand for music downloads. Increased. What do we always have to add to the end? Funny words. Funny words. Go Latin on me. Come on. Ceteris paribus. Ceteris paribus. All other things being equal. Assuming that you didn't have to evacuate your home because of Hurricane Florence and don't have a Wi-Fi connection. Assuming that you didn't just lose your fingers in an unfortunate chemical lab spill in science class and can't operate a computer. So ceteris paribus, all other things remaining constant. So let's see how we did here. Looks like you got the right reason. And you got the right shift. Oh. Alright, now. Price of music downloads falls.
No, I have a question on that.
Yeah. On the last one?
Yeah, I thought it wouldn't shift, it would just move along that line because the price is on the graph.
Okay. Said he thought that it wouldn't shift. What are we graphing? Because it's the price of iPods that changed. But what are we graphing?
The quantity of music downloads.
Music downloads. So the price of music downloads would have had to have changed for it to be a shift along the curve. You're talking about the price of a completely different thing changing. So then you have to decide what's the relationship between the different thing and the thing I'm actually graphing. Got it? We're going to see if you actually got it. Whoa. I tapped the board a lot of times with the magic wand, didn't I? Dylan, come show us what happens here. Since you asked the question. What stressed you out yesterday? So what are you graphing?
Price of music download falling.
You're graphing music downloads, right?
So the price of music download falling would increase the quantity of demand. And then
So show me on that graph a decrease in the price of music downloads.
so just like
Show me a decrease in the price of music downloads.
Okay, it goes from here to there.
Show me that on the price axis. Label it. No, it's already labeled that way. What I'm looking for you to say is this. P2. At P1, you got P2. So a decrease in the price of music downloads, show me what that does to quantity.
So, decrease of price of music downloads.
Decrease in the price of music downloads, what's that do to quantity
That
of
would
music downloads?
increase quantity of music downloads.
Prove it on the graph. Show me on the graph. Nope. You just drew a new demand curve. All you have to do is read the graph you've already got. Erase
Okay.
that line.
So, here's the original. Here's the new.
Label it. Okay. Yes. That's all you have to do. Since this and this are the same, then this price means you're moving along this axis. Okay? When you move it along that axis, you give yourself a new price, you dot over to it, you put it on the graph, you dot down. So you say, as a result of a decrease in the price of music downloads, what is this right here? The quantity demanded decreases. Or, I'm sorry, increases. Wow. Read the graph. Increases. Yes, ma'am.
But you have to state that that's the law of demand or no?
No, you don't have to state that it's the law of demand. But it is, because as price decreases, quantity demanded increases.
Do you have to state ceteris paribus?
Yes. Got it? Guys, this is the number one thing that is going to trip you up in these first days of dealing with demand and supply. Is distinguishing between when it's the price of what it is that you're graphing and when it's the price of something else.
What were we graphing before?
iPods. The price of iPods.
That's why it's different, because
Yes.
that's not on the graph.
Yes. All right. So we move forward. Almost exactly what Dylan graphed for us, right? Look at those nice labels. You must always label your graph. Because if you can read the graph, you can answer the question correctly. If you've graphed it right. I will give you points for your graphs as much as for your written answer. It's like math. You have to show your work. Because sometimes you'll write your answer wrong, but the graph is right. Sometimes you'll graph it wrong and you'll write your answer right. So you want to do both, get yourself some points. All right, now, price of CDs has fallen. Who's the brave soul? Not if you've already been up. Dylan, willing to face the gauntlet again. Come on, somebody. So, tell us, before you graph anything, tell us what the demand determinant is that you're considering.
Change in
So the first thing you have to say to yourself is, I am graphing music downloads. What is the relationship between music downloads and CDs? Figure out that relationship first before you do anything else. So what is the relationship between music downloads and CDs? They are substitutes. So now, what demand determinant plays in there?
so if CDs falls, the music
What demand, step by step? We found the relationship between music downloads and CDs. They're substitutes. What's the demand determinant?
change in price related goods.
Change in price of related goods, a substitute. So the price of the substitute has gone down. So what happens to your demand for music downloads when the substitute is now cheaper? What are you going to do?
Buy more or less than less than the other.
So use actual nouns. Use actual nouns. Buy more of what?
CDs and less downloads.
Okay? So graph that.
So that would mean this one.
Okay?
Two.
Now, can you say the statement for us? You don't have to write it out. Turn around, face them, tell us the statement.
As a result of the CD price.
Nope. As a result of insert determinant here.
Change in related.
Nope.
I don't know.
The whole determinant. As a result of a change in,
Price of related goods substitutes.
yes. What changed? For,
Music downloads decreases because of the.
now the demand for music downloads decreases. What do we always add at the end?
There's.
Yep.
That's it?
Yep. Boom. Seems so simple when you're not up here sweating it out.
So
Yes, ma'am.
why is the line drawn under and not above if the demand increase?
Fair question. So demand increased, right? And you want to know why the line, you said demand increased or decreased?
Increase?
You think, so when the price of CDs, a substitute, decreases, you're going to go out and buy more music downloads.
Mm,
Why do you want to increase demand for music downloads then?
it would decrease then.
Okay? Are you okay with the graph then?
Oh, okay. Wait, but
We're graphing music downloads, not CDs.
so if two
This is the thing that changed.
so if two products are substitutes, that means that they are inversely or
Yeah.
Okay.
I only have $10 a month to spend on music. CDs are now $5 a piece. Am I going to buy music downloads or CDs? Okay. So before we get into supply, I want to write the formula out for you. As a result of insert determinants. Force yourself to write this down, Jerry. Comma. It's comma, not an arrow. What changed? This is up or down, so that's how it changed. Ceteris paribus. Sophie.
Can you say the answer to the last one in that formula really fast?
The CD price one?
Yeah.
As a result of a change in the price of related goods, a substitute, demand for music downloads decreased. Ceteris paribus. Got it? Can you see some points racking up there? Okay. So, now we move on to supply. Supply is very much like demand. It has its own specific set of determinants. Here's where supply is often hard for you. You have lived your entire life up to this point with a primary role of consumer in the economy. So you view everything from the demand side of the equation. You must, for the purposes of supply, try to look at the world from the supply side of the equation. Put yourself in the shoes of the business and think about how they look at the world. If you try to view supply as a consumer, you will forever be confounded. Okay. Quantity supplied of a good is the quantity that suppliers are willing and able to sell. Remember, quantity demanded was willing and able to buy. We had the $20 bag of peanut M&Ms, right? How many bags of peanut M&Ms do you suppose M&M Mars Company would sell at $20 a bag?
Not as much as they're selling.
I did not ask. How many do you? What is the quantity supply of M&M bags at $20?
Lower.
Why would it be lower? If they thought they could sell them at $20 a bag, how many do you suppose they would sell supply?
More.
Oh my gosh, a near infinite amount, right? Hundreds of thousands of bags of. Actually, they're already making hundreds of thousands of bags. Billions of bags, billions and billions of bags of peanut M&Ms at $20 a bag, willing and able to sell, if they can actually make that many, right? Now let's suppose that the only factory in the world that makes peanut M&Ms is located in Florence, South Carolina. What is the quantity supply of peanut M&Ms today? What is it? What's the quantity of peanut M&Ms today? Guys, zero, right? They might be willing to sell billions of bags of peanut M&Ms, but in Florence, South Carolina today, how many are they able to sell? Zero, right? Willing and able, just like you guys. Some of you really wanted those M&Ms for $3 a bag, but you didn't have the $3. You were willing, but not able. How many bags, remember that was a big bag of peanut M&Ms, right? How many bags do you suppose M&M Mars would be quantity supplying at 50 cents a bag? Why?
Because of price, they're not benefiting as much as with
They might be able to sell them, but they would not be willing. What at a penny a bag? Zero. Right? They'd be able, but they would not be willing. They wouldn't be in business very long if they were willing. Are you with me? SpaceX will send you to the moon. Lots of people might demand a moon trip, right? For $5 a moonshot. But for $50 billion a moonshot, quantity demanded becomes very low, right? How many moonshots is SpaceX willing to provide at $500 a moonshot?
Zero.
0, because their expense is much, much, much higher, right? Okay. Does it make sense when you think about it from the business side? I hope so. All right. So the law of supply. Think about it from the business point of view. As price increases, quantity supplied increases. As price decreases, quantity supplied decreases. Ceteris paribus. It is a direct relationship. Demand has an indirect relationship, an inverse relationship between price and quantity demanded. Supply has a direct relationship between price and quantity supplied. Are you with me? Dylan.
So, the quantity supplied is gonna rise when the price rises,
Yep.
but increasing the supply would decrease the price, so how does that work?
You're jumping ahead in logic. Don't go there yet. You're already on to step 3 of this. Back up. Okay? Got it? Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I'm a little confused. So like, for like the SpaceX thing, if they thought that they could sell the trip for $5 billion, but they prepared for like 12 trips, wouldn't they? And they only ended up selling like 1. Wouldn't they have lost money? Like, why would they have prepared for so many trips and made so
You
expensive?
also are jumping ahead to the next step.
Okay.
I'm gonna yank on the reins and say it will all become clear. All right. So, graphing it. Just like a demand schedule, right? I don't need to go through this step by step by step. With a direct relationship between price and quantity, we end up with a curve that goes the other way. If ever you are starting to draw a graph and you're like, oh, which one is supply, which one is demand, I can't remember which one goes which way, just put 2 points on the graph, make 1 point, point 1, 1 point, point 2, and figure out whether price and quantity increase together or in inverse relationship. If they go together, it's supply. If they're inverse, it's demand. Otherwise, just remember, goes this way, supply, goes this way, it's demand. Okay, market supply versus individual supply. One business is quantity supplied, another business is quantity supplied. Put them together, you've got the market supply. Yada yada, just like we did with demand. Yep. All right. Supply determinants. Supply determinants. Told you you'd have a set of these just like you did demand determinants. We'll get through the first one probably. Whoops. Okay. So non-price determinants of supply. This one you write as change in the price of inputs. Change in the price of inputs. What does M&M Mars Company need in order to make those peanut M&Ms? Peanuts, sugar, chocolate, food dye. Okay? Let's say that those 4 ingredients will get us a peanut M&M. The price of peanuts has gone up because so much of the South is flooded and the peanuts are washing away. Change in the price of inputs. An input is a thing that goes into the thing they're supplying. Got it? Do you? wages are a huge input. If it requires human labor, and labor costs have gone up or down, that is a huge alteration in the price of inputs. Things will get very, very expensive after the zombie apocalypse because people who are able to work, if you can get them to work for you, will be demanding exorbitant sums. A decrease in input prices. If there is a peanut boom in the South and a sugar boom at the same time, those input prices have dramatically decreased, making it less expensive to produce peanut M&Ms. What is M&M bars going to do? Make more. No, you silly consumer boy. They're not going to lower the price for you. That is so sweet.
But
No, they're not looking out for you. They're just going to make more to maximize their profit because they know that input prices won't stay low forever. And then they're going to pass on that excess profit to their shareholders. When was the last time we ever saw prices go down for something other than for a temporary short-term markdown at the store? Right?
Gas.
Gas? Short-term. Now, are you thinking about the fact that 5 years ago gas was close to $4 a gallon and now it's...
Yeah,
Okay. Bring that up tomorrow when we start. Have a day, y'all.
That's